Have you ever felt that rush of butterflies in your stomach when she walked into the room? That feeling like the world stopped for a second, but you completely froze up? What if I told you that this moment of paralysis is exactly what's stopping you from living the most intense experiences of your love life? I'm not talking about cheap tricks or manipulation. I'm talking about awakening the magnetic man that exists within you, but who has been buried under years of social conditioning. Get ready. What you're about to discover will challenge everything you've learned about attraction, and it will transform your presence into something irresistible. In the next few minutes, you'll understand why seduction isn't about what you say, but about who you are when no one's looking. The first fundamental point that needs to become crystal clear in your mind: seduction isn't performance, it's presence. You've spent years believing you needed to memorize canned lines, elaborate techniques, complex strategies. A lie. The biggest lie you've ever been told. While you were busy trying to seem interesting, you missed the opportunity to be genuinely captivating. The concept is simple but powerful. Women don't fall for scripts, they connect with authentic energy. And authentic energy comes from a very specific place within you. Think about that guy you know who has a natural magnet. He walks into any room and people gravitate around him. You watch and think he has some secret, some magic formula. Wrong. What he has is something much more valuable. He stopped trying to impress and simply started being. Try to impress, you emanate desperation. When you simply are, you emanate magnetism. A subtle change, but it makes all the difference in the world. The journey begins with a brutal exercise in self-awareness. You need to identify all the masks you wear. That persona of the funny guy who tells jokes all the time to hide purity. That of the intellectual who uses big words to seem superior. That of the bad boy who pretends not to care when he's actually terrified of rejection. Each mask is a barrier between you and real connection. And real connection is what generates true attraction. You start by observing your patterns. When you're nervous around an attractive woman, what do? Talk too much? Stay silent? Try to seem richer, more educated, more experienced than you really are? Write it down. Without judgment, just observe. Awareness is the first step to transformation. You can't change what you don't recognize. The first week is dedicated to deprogramming. You're going to stop consuming content about seduction. Does that sound contradictory? It's intentional. The more techniques you accumulate, the more robotic you become. You need a mental detox. Instead, you'll focus on something much more powerful: presence. When you're talking to anyone, man or woman, young or old, you're going to practice being completely present, without thinking about what you'll say, without judging, just listening with your whole being. It's difficult at first. Your mind will want to revert to old patterns. It'll want to plan the next clever line. Resist. When you are truly present, something magical happens. You respond naturally, authentically, surprisingly even to yourself. And that is infinitely more attractive than any memorized script. But presence alone isn't enough. You need to develop what I call healthy tension. I'm not talking about creating drama or playing games. I'm talking about maintaining a space of mystery, of not handing everything over on a silver platter. Most men, when they like a woman, become an open book. They tell their whole life story in the first conversation. They declare feelings too early. They make themselves completely available. And they kill any tension that could exist. Tension is the spice of attraction. It's what makes the heart race. It's what creates that palpable chemistry in the air. But tension isn't manipulation, simply not being in a hurry. It's leaving empty spaces in the conversation for her to fill. It's not responding immediately to every message. It's having a life rich enough not to orbit around her. The second crucial aspect you need to understand: strategic vulnerability is your secret superpower. Calm down. I'm not telling you to cry on her shoulder on the first date. I'm talking about something much more sophisticated. Most men try to seem perfect, invulnerable, flawless, and that is profoundly uninteresting. You know what's magnetic? A man who can admit an insecurity with humor, who shares a fear courageously, who shows his humanity without playing the victim. Fine line here. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. It takes a lot of courage to let your guard down in a calculated way. When you share something genuine about yourself, you create an emotional bridge. She feels she can trust you, that you're real. And in a world of manufactured personas, authenticity is the ultimate luxury. Think about how you feel when someone shares something true with you. It's not about drama or problems. It's about simple moments of honesty. That time you were afraid to fail. That dream you haven't realized yet. That lesson you learned the hard way. When shared at the right moment, these fragments of vulnerability create instant connection. Timing is everything. You don't dump your life story on the first coffee date. You build gradually. Small revelation here. A moment of honesty there, always balanced with humor, lightness, positivity. You're not a project for her to fix. You're a complete man who isn't afraid to show his nuances. You've been following along and have already had some insights. It's time to give that, like so the algorithm understands that this content is changing lives. Comment what your biggest difficulty has been with women until today. Create a community of men who support each other on this journey. Subscribe so you don't miss the next videos that will go even deeper into this transformation. Third fundamental pillar, natural leadership without authoritarianism. Women are biologically programmed to respond to masculine leadership. But I'm not talking about the guy who calls all the shots. I'm talking about the man who makes decisions naturally, who suggests the meeting spot instead of dumping the responsibility on her, who guides the interaction without forcing anything. Leadership in seduction is subtle. It's you noticing she's cold and suggesting going inside somewhere. It's noticing the conversation is dying and proposing a change of environment. It's sensing the right moment for the first touch and executing with confidence. Not asking permission for everything, reading the signs and acting accordingly. Many men confuse leadership with aggression. Fatal error. Leadership is creating a safe space where she can be feminine. It's you taking responsibility for the flow of the interaction without being controlling. It's having a plan but being flexible enough to adapt, making her feel cared for without suffocating her. The exercise here is simple but powerful. In your next social interactions, not just with women, practice making micro-decisions. Suggest the restaurant, choose the table, propose the next step. Do it naturally as if it were the most normal thing in the world, because it should be. A man who knows what he wants and acts accordingly is infinitely more attractive than one who stays on the fence. But leadership without calibration is tyranny. You need to be attentive to her signals. Comfortable? Is she keeping up? Is she resistant? True leadership is dancing with her energy, not dragging her where you want to go. It's proposing and observing the response. It's adjusting the rhythm based on the feedback you receive. Calibration is a lost art. Most men are either too passive or too aggressive. The sweet spot is in the middle. You lead but observe. You propose but don't insist. You advance but respect boundaries. It's a game of sensitivity that requires practice and attention. Fourth transformative element. Cultivate mystery without being evasive. We live in the age of overexposure. Instagram stories showing every meal, posts about every thought, location shared all the time, and this is killing your aura of mystery. Women are naturally curious. When you spoon-feed everything, you kill curiosity, and curiosity is the fuel of attraction. Mystery isn't lying or hiding important things. It's simply not vomiting your whole life story at the first opportunity. It's leaving questions in the air. It's hinting at stories without telling all the details. Having a life rich enough so there's always something new to discover about you. Think about the most intriguing men you know. They're not necessarily the most handsome or richest. They are the ones you can never quite figure out, who always seem to have an ace up their sleeve, who live interesting lives and don't need to advertise them. That's the kind of energy you want to cultivate. The practical exercise is to drastically reduce your online presence. Stop documenting every moment. Stop responding immediately to every message. Create spaces of silence in your life. When she asks what you did over the weekend, don't give a detailed report. Give a few interesting highlights and change the subject. Leave her wanting more. But be careful not to overdo it. Excessive mystery turns into coldness. You don't want to seem emotionally unavailable. The secret is to reveal yourself in layers like an onion. Each interaction, she discovers something new about you. There's always the feeling that there's more to know. The power of mystery lies in her imagination. When you leave empty spaces, her mind fills them with fantasy. The fantasy she creates is always more powerful than any reality you could present. You become a blank canvas where she projects her desires. Fifth and perhaps most important principle, develop a life you'd love to live even if you never met another woman. This isn't just self-help guru talk. It's the most liberating truth you'll ever hear. When your happiness depends on having someone, you emanate desperation. When you are genuinely satisfied with your life, you emanate abundance. And abundance is irresistible. Most men build a mediocre life and expect a woman to come give it meaning. Terrible strategy. Women don't want to be your purpose. They want to be part of the adventure of a man who already has purpose. They want to add spice to a life that's already flavorful. Start by mapping out your dreams that have nothing to do with women. That trip you want to take, that hobby you've always wanted to learn, that project that's been shelved, that physical transformation you've been putting off. Put energy into that, not to impress anyone. Self. When you're building something significant, your energy changes. You stop orbiting around women because you have more important things to do, and ironically, that makes you much more attractive. You become the sun, not the planet. You become the protagonist of your story, not the supporting actor waiting for someone to act with. The test is simple. If tomorrow all the women in the world disappeared, would your life still have meaning? Would you still have reasons to get out of bed excited? The answer is no, you have work to do. And that work has nothing to do with seduction. It has to do with building an epic life. Sixth revolutionary insight. Master the art of sexual tension without being vulgar. Most men are either too asexual or too crude. They get stuck in friend mode or go straight into creep mode. Works. Elegant sexual tension is about suggestion, not explicitness. It's about energy, not words. It's about the unspoken that hangs in the air. Sexual tension begins in the eyes. It's maintaining eye contact a second longer than socially normal. It's letting your gaze wander over her face while she talks. It's communicating desire without desperation. Making it clear that you see her as a woman, not as a friend, without turning it into something vulgar. Touch is your second tool. I'm not talking about grabbing or invading personal space. I'm talking about strategic and elegant touches. Touch on the arm when she makes you laugh. Hand on her back to guide her through the door. An accidental brush that isn't so accidental. Each touch builds a physical bridge that complements the emotional connection. Your voice is your third instrument. Nervous men speak fast and high-pitched. Confident men speak slowly and low-pitched. Practice modulating your voice. When things heat up, let your voice become more husky, more intimate. Use pauses. Let silence create tension. Lean in to whisper something in her ear. Use physical proximity to amplify your words. But the supreme secret of sexual tension is push and pull. Approaching and withdrawing. Heating up and cooling down. Giving intense attention and then distracting yourself with something else. This isn't playing games, it's natural rhythm. No one can handle constant intensity. Variation creates an emotional roller coaster, and a roller coaster is addictive. Seventh transformative principle. Learn to read and respond to feminine tests. Yes, they test, not out of malice, out of instinct. They need to know if you are who you appear to be, if your confidence is real or a facade, if you maintain your frame under pressure. And how you respond to these tests determines whether attraction grows or dies. Tests come in various forms: provocative questions, challenging comments, unreasonable requests, sudden mood swings. Most men fail miserably because they take everything literally. They try to argue logically. They defend themselves, they justify themselves, and they kill all sexual tension in the process. The key is to understand that the test isn't about the content. It's about your reaction. He doesn't really want to know how many women you've dated. He wants to see if you get nervous with the question. She's not really mad because you took a while to respond. He wants to see if you desperately try to please her. The master response to tests is not to take them seriously. Humor is your best weapon. Agreeing and amplifying works wonderfully. He says you're a player. You respond that you're the biggest player in the world and she should run while she can. He complains that you take too long to respond. You joke that you were busy saving kittens from trees, but not every test calls for humor. Some call for calm firmness. When she tries to create unnecessary drama, you maintain your peace. Don't enter her chaotic energy. Respond with calm and maturity. Show that you are the rock where she can find stability. This is profoundly attractive to the feminine. The fatal error is to take it personally, get angry, counterattack, try to win the argument. You are not in competition with her. You are dancing. And in the dance, sometimes she leads to see if you know how to follow. Sometimes she resists to feel your firmness. It's all part of the game of polarity. Eighth crucial element. Master the timing of physical escalation. Most men get this terribly wrong. They either wait too long and fall into the friend zone, or they advance too early and scare her off. Perfect timing is an art that requires sensitivity and courage in just the right measure. The secret is gradual and organic progression. You don't jump from zero to the kiss. You build a ladder of small advancements. First, the casual social touch. Then the more intimate touch on the arm, the hand on the back, the touch on her face to remove an imaginary strand of hair. Each step prepares the next. Observe her response to each advance. Does she move closer or pull away? Does she reciprocate the touch or become rigid? Does she maintain eye contact or look away? These signs tell you if it's time to advance or retreat. No means no. Maybe means keep calibrating. Yes means accelerate with confidence. The moment of the kiss is critical. Waiting too long kills the tension. Advancing without clear signs is invasive. Perfect moment usually comes after an emotional peak. You've laughed together, shared something intimate, created a bubble of complicity. Eyes meet. The silence becomes charged. It's now. But don't turn the kiss into an event. The more natural, the better. A fluid movement while you're talking, a gradual approach that seems inevitable, and after the kiss, don't analyze or comment. Continue the conversation as if it were the most natural thing in the world, because it should be. If you've made it this far and are having valuable insights, it's your turn to give back. Leave your like so more men can find this content. Share it with that friend who needs this transformation. Comment on your biggest learning so far. Let's build a brotherhood of men who support each other in growth. Ninth fundamental principle: eliminate the scarcity mindset. This is the cancer that destroys your chances before you even start. When you believe that quality women are rare, you cling to the first one who shows interest. You accept crumbs. You tolerate disrespect. You lose your dignity trying to keep someone who doesn't deserve your effort. An abundance mindset isn't about quantity. It's about quality of options. It's knowing deep down in your being that you are a man of value and that there are thousands of amazing women who would love to be with you. It's not despairing when one doesn't work. No others will come along. This mindset changes everything. Stop chasing and start attracting. You set standards and don't accept less. You end connections that don't serve you without drama or resentment. You understand that compatibility is rare, and you don't force situations that clearly don't work. The practical exercise is to drastically expand your social circle, not just to meet women, to understand that the world is vast and full of opportunities. Frequent new places, develop social hobbies, travel, talk to strangers. Break the bubble that makes you believe your options are limited. But abundance without criteria is empty promiscuity. I'm not suggesting you become a collector of conquests. I'm saying that when you know you have options, you choose better. You don't settle for just anyone. You wait for connections that are truly worthwhile. 10th revolutionary insight: transcend the need for female validation. This is the supreme level of seduction, when you don't need her approval to feel like a man, when your value comes from within, not from how many women you've conquered, when you are complete on your own and seek a partner to share with, not to fill voids. The desperate search for female validation is what makes men pathetic. They mold their entire lives around what they think women want. Gym to impress women, car to impress women, dress to impress women. In the process, they lose their essence, their authenticity, their soul. When you transcend this need, something magical happens. You become genuinely attractive because you are living for yourself. Your accomplishments are yours. Your journey is yours. Your happiness is yours, and this is profoundly magnetic. Women want to be part of the life of an accomplishment, not the reason for his accomplishment. Test is brutal but necessary. Can you go 6 months without any romantic interaction, still feel complete? Can you look in the mirror and like what you see regardless of how many women desire you? Can you celebrate your accomplishments without needing external validation? If not, you have internal work to do. But transcending the need doesn't mean becoming indifferent. You still appreciate female company. You still seek connection. You still desire intimacy. The difference is that now it comes from a place of wanting, not needing. And this subtle change transforms the entire dynamic. You are no longer the emotional beggar. You are the king who chooses to share his kingdom. 11th transformative principle: understand and respect feminine nature without trying to change it. Most men complain that they don't understand women, that they're complicated, that they're illogical. Fundamental error. They're not illogical. They operate by a different logic. Emotional, intuitive, cyclical. And when you learn to navigate this ocean instead of fighting against it, everything becomes easier. Women test because they need to feel your strength. They change moods because they are cyclical by nature. They value emotional security because they biologically need it to open up. They respond to leadership because it complements their receptive energy. It's not sexism, it's polarity. Polarity creates attraction. Accepting feminine nature isn't being a doormat. Being wise, it's understanding that she won't think like you, she won't communicate like you, she won't love like you. That's beautiful. The difference is what creates the magic. When you stop trying to turn her into a man in a woman's body, you can appreciate her unique essence. The exercise is to observe without judging. When she does something that doesn't make sense in your masculine, breathe. Ask yourself what emotional need is behind the behavior. It's usually about security, connection, or being seen. Respond to the need, not the superficial behavior. But respecting doesn't mean accepting everything. You have your limits, and you should maintain them. The difference is that now you understand that certain behaviors aren't personal. They are expressions of feminine nature. You respond with loving firmness, not with anger or frustration. You guide without forcing. You lead without dominating. 12th and final principle: cultivate unshakable masculine presence. This goes beyond confidence. It's about being so rooted in your masculinity that nothing throws you off center. Not her tests, not rejections, not life's challenges. You are the mountain that doesn't move with the wind. Masculine presence is being comfortable in silence. It's not needing to fill every pause with words. It's looking in the eyes without looking away. Occupying your space without apology. It's speaking your truth without aggression. It's being gentle by choice, not by weakness. It's having the strength to be vulnerable. This presence is cultivated in solitude, in meditation, in confronting your fears, in developing discipline, in keeping your word. In every small victory over yourself, you don't fake masculine presence. You build it day after day, choice after choice. Women feel this presence instantly. It's like a radar. They know who is solid and who is a facade, who will keep them safe in the storm and who will crumble at the first difficulty. Your presence speaks louder than 1,000 words. Your energetic signature in the world. The path isn't easy. It requires you to abandon crutches. Stop drinking for courage. Stop using excessive humor to hide insecurity. Stop seeking constant validation. Face your demons. Integrate your shadows. Become whole. Only whole men create whole relationships. The journey I've shared with you today isn't about tricks or techniques. It's about genuine transformation. It's about awakening the magnetic man who always existed in you but was buried under layers of conditioning. It's about stopping chasing and starting attracting. It's about becoming the kind of man who naturally creates deep and meaningful connections. If this content resonated with you, if you felt something shift internally as you absorbed these truths, your journey is just beginning. Leave your like as a commitment to your transformation. Comment on which principle impacted you the most. Share with men who need this message. Subscribe to continue this journey of masculine evolution. The change starts now. The choice is yours. The magnetic man within you is waiting to awaken. Don't make him wait any longer.